Well, Swan MLA Rick Wowchuk joins us. Hey, Rick.
Hi, Bill. Good afternoon.
So let's talk about highways for a moment. Not
Sure.
always something we get to chat with you about, but this time it's a highway affecting Swan River.
Yes, we're talking about the intersection at 83 and 10, there by Subway, that busy corner.
Now, that's been talked about for years. We've looked at, I know the town council's talked about it many times, what to do to make it safer, different. And it wasn't that long ago the province floated some ideas and did the Engage Manitoba process.
Yes, and there was great reception on that. I think it was 343 responses, and people engaged well and made their opinions and thoughts known.
Now, the majority of people were people that live in the local area. Obviously, it affects them the most. A few people from out of town that made their thoughts known. But of those that made their thoughts known, what did you find out?
Well, there was a overwhelm, and I'm going to go back to the people that came into our office, Bill. Initially when the options were put forth about the roundabout and the turning lanes, we had a number of people after in our local paper. There was an article on it, and we had a number of people coming into the office expressing their concerns, and I relayed this to the minister prior to the engagement and the consultation that occurred. And at that point, when we knew this was the consultation was coming out, we reached out a lot to the municipalities, and of course it was the website, but just making everybody aware that, hey, this is there, make your voice known, here's your opportunity to speak favorably toward option A or option B, and help government make a decision as to what the proposal should be for this particular intersection.
I'm curious. I know a lot of people seem to be concerned about the idea of a roundabout. Was there specific things they were not happy about? Because I know it's been tried other places, and I think to Regina, and they had really a disaster when they built those new roundabouts outside of the city. They've had to make some changes to them. Now that they're fixed, maybe they're not so bad, but did that be something that kept coming up?
Yeah, the biggest thing, and I had people sending me, in favorably toward the roundabout, sending me some of these intersections in other countries and stuff where the traffic volume was extremely high. However, the big thing around here seemed to be the size of the equipment and the trucks that would be using that particular intersection. A lot of, whether it could be a sprayer or a Super Bee with 2 trailers or a logging truck, and this seemed to be the area that there was concern about.
All right. So when these results come out, and this isn't the decision yet, this is just the results of what the public have sort of indicated they want. It's kind of overwhelming one way, isn't it? Yeah.
And I was told by the minister's office last week that, the decision coming from the minister's office would be, the kind of final decision. I am going to, like I heard overwhelmingly in our office, people that we're favorable more toward a turning lane, and I've made that commitment, just on the basis of majority and what I'm hearing from my constituents, that I'm going to advocate hard on their behalf to have the majority being heard.
Now, I want to go through this a little bit. So those that said they wanted the dedicated turn lanes, so protected turn lanes, that about 76% of people identifying that as their preferred, and they gave some reasons. And so they said, like you're mentioning, better for large vehicles like farm equipment, commercial trucks, longer length logging trucks. There's a lot of people that said they had a concern about drivers' ability to use the roundabout. A few people actually said that they thought it would be lower capital cost, and so they were kind of interested for that. When you flip over to option B, which is the roundabout, there were some people concerned about the idea of the turning lanes. There's a measurable amount of people said they thought the roundabout would have less impact on the businesses near the intersection. Is that going to be a concern? Should it go the way of the turning lanes?
Well, that's up to the engineers to decide on, because if you put medians in there, depending on the extension of the medians, there could be some impact turning into, some of the local businesses in the vicinity of the roundabout. So that had been brought up, and that was voiced, a little about council, representing the business people in the area. So, that would be something. I guess a decision has to be made here. Do we go with the roundabout? do we go with the turning lanes? And from that point, the design would have to take place after that.
Now, assuming we get a decision in a week or two, is
Yes.
there any timeline for when this would actually happen?
Well, I think in the consultation that they were talking that they would like to get it finished sometime in the late summer of 2022, is from what I saw within that. So, at that point, there's still a little bit of work. Number one is the decision on option A, option B, and then of course the design.
Now, it would be hard to talk about Main Street in Swan River that end without maybe also talking about the other end of Main Street. It had some work done last year. The town did work in advance of resurfacing project. They dug quite a few holes, and they were most effective. I think we would all agree at digging those holes. Some of them even still exist now. Any updates on what happens with that?
Yeah, first off, we needed that settlement period. That has occurred now. We went through a winter, it settled, and I know the town right now is engaging in some detail with the province, as to working together to possibly be able to get that section of the Main Street looked after. I know we saw a few years ago what happened on Main Street, and I think that it's very important that we don't have that happen again. Over a period of time. So I know the town is working with the province right now on some sort of resolution, and I know we'd all love to see it just get out there and get it paved as soon as possible. However, there's a fair price tag with it, for the town and for the province. So there's got to be a little bit of consultation there going on right now with the province as to a timeline. We know it's going to get done. The big factor here is the timeline.
Anything else we should talk about roads before we move on from that?
Well, I'm always advocating hard in behalf. I hear a lot of talks about ditch road, and that's been a tough one for some period of time. There's a drainage issue that we've had meetings, and a drainage issue has to get resolved there prior for them to take action in any type of upgrades on that particular road. But I can assure the people in the constituency, I'm hearing loud and clear that this road is an issue, and I'm advocating hard on their behalf so that we can come up with some resolution for that. So we got a few major things right in the town of Swan River and the vicinity that are issues that have to be dealt with.
Now we're seeing north of town some investment. Richardson Pioneer building a new facility. That's got to be good news. Yeah,
that exciting. When you get economic development of that nature, I know out at Louisiana Pacific, there's some upgrades happening there, and these are big things. And post pandemic, I'm excited because we just have not had a chance to govern in the last while, other than dealing with COVID. And I'm just encouraging everybody to get out there, get their vaccines, and let's beat this COVID, and let's get on with life. And it's going to be exciting for myself as an MLA to get back to governing our province and being part of a province that's able to do a few things rather than dealing with COVID.
Now, the Ledge just wrapped up a few days ago, so you're at a session for the summer. Any highlights there in the last little bit?
Well, we passed probably a record number of bills. And as the Premier said, these bills are going to make a difference as we move forward in Manitoba. We may not see the impact right now, but as we move forward, it's gonna play a huge part.
One bill that didn't pass, and I don't know if you want to wade into this, but it doesn't escape me that you and I worked together as school division for many years, and Bill 64 is held over to the fall. Anything you do want to say about Bill 64?
Well, it's right now there's consultations. We got one coming up with parents here real soon, and I know the boards have been notified, and they're notifying parents. I think it's June the 10th that's coming up, and they want to hear from the parents, and I feel really good about the engagement and consultation that our government has been taking. They're reaching out. They want to hear what people have to say. And Bill 64 is an educator. I'm very, very familiar with the trades program in the regional school, and I know what we've built probably a trades program second to none. And, I'm in constant meetings there and trying to, just see what do we need to have development and economic development move forward in the town of Swan River. And I can assure the people that I'm going to advocate on behalf to see that we don't lose anything, because that program took a long time to build and got probably $10-12 million in buildings outside there, and they want to be utilized to the maximum.
Interesting point. I was talking to a couple folks from Winkler that are doing course selection. They're in high school, and they were showing me the list of courses they had. And Winkler, you would think, growing area, big place, new high school there, the old high school as well. My first reaction would be land of opportunity. The amount of courses they had available there compared to here in Swan River, it paled in comparison. Swan River, hands down, was a better place if you were looking for courses. Yeah,
I've been in the vocational area for 25 years, definitely, and there's a lot of hardworking people, teachers. The board has got us to where we are, and I know that I'm just excited, as we move forward, that we want to come across the finish line and utilizing those trades programs to the maximum, and that's going to play a big part post-pandemic.
Final question for you. Put you on the spot a little bit. There's been all sorts of talk about Premier Pallister, whether or not he retires at some point before the next election or stays. What about MLA Wowchuk? Is he sticking around, or is he decided yet?
That's a tough one. I will be really honest that this pandemic has beaten a lot of MLAs into the ground. They represented the people in their constituencies to the best of their ability. Everybody can second guess decisions made, but we had no playbook for this pandemic. And when we look at that, and the fact that we had no playbook, we have to make decisions based on the safety of Manitobans and moving Manitoba forward and into a position to restart Manitoba. And so at that point, I guess I'll decline comment. Right now, my focus is on the next 2 years and or 2+ years here. And when we come out of this, I'm representing the people of this valley, and we got some major projects to try to get over the finish line. And right now, for the next 2 years, that's my focus. And then at the end of that time, we'll evaluate things and make a decision then.
Rick Wowchuk, a pleasure as always.
Thank you, Bill.